Good morning, welcome everybody. I can see the chat is already working. Just want to do a quick sound check. If you can just leave a short confirmation that you can hear as well in the chat.
Check. Very good.
Check, double check, triple check. I think we're good to go, Matthijs. There we go. Welcome again to this new webinar on making sense of artificial intelligence in the innovation process. I hope you had a wonderful summer break, refuel to take on the innovation challenges for the remainder of the year. It's interesting. We had, I think, people registering for the webinar from 35 countries.
Yep.
In total, so I think this is one of our most international webinars.
Yeah.
We're continuing this series in which we share best practices on driving growth through innovation. All our webinars, by the way, are available on demand, 18 in total, so you can actually do a bit of binge watching. Wouldn't recommend that.
Something to do for the weekend.
But they're available on our website, and Rob is making the link available.
Yeah, and as you know, Mark just discussed, we have all our webinars online, but we also have a few other pieces of content for you. So we started recording a few podcasts on innovation together with our clients and partners. For example, we have a podcast on building KLM's innovation studio, Blue Labs. We have a podcast on a discussion of the importance of innovation software, which is an interview with the Q Markets co-founder, Michael Stilger, and we have a story of innovation in sports and well-being, which is features the Dutch Olympic Committee and the Ministry of Health. And these podcasts are available on Spotify and YouTube. And I think Rob has already made the link available for you. And just please let us know if these kinds of content are of use to you guys, because we put a lot of time and effort into producing them, and it would be nice to hear from you guys if you like them, and if we don't, we just kill them in true innovation sense. Another update concerns our playbooks. We have, as many of you know, we have innovation playbooks on let's say the general innovation process, innovation strategy, and portfolio management, and we've updated those to also include elements of artificial intelligence in them. So, which is obviously the focus of today. So, if you have older versions of the playbook, please download the new versions, and Rob will also make some of them available at the end of this webinar.
Okay, and just to introduce ourselves, for those of you who are new to our webinar series, which I think are quite a lot of people. My name is Mark Dauma. I'm a partner co-founder at RevelX. Next to me is Matthijs Rosman. As always, I would almost say, also partner at RevelX. We will be your host for this webinar. We have Rob. I think you've seen him already in the chat behind the controls. Rob is going to make sure everything runs smoothly today. And I think compared to the other series, we have, quite interesting, a new colleague or a new addition to the team. She's not a new colleague, of course. Which is Liz. Liz will be showing us today kind of a selection of artificial intelligence tools. So we're going to really look at some practical applications. Liz will join the stage later in this webinar, but again, already welcome to Liz.
Yep. Okay, so that leads us to the content of today's webinar, which obviously, as Mark said, is making sense of AI in the innovation process. And in that sense, we're also taking you on our own journey of making sense of AI and the power of AI and how it applies to the innovation process and our innovation profession. And just as a little disclaimer, I don't think you should expect a sort of a guru perspective on AI, because as many of you, we're also still learning and trying to make sense of it. And every month, hundreds, if not thousands, of new tools are sort of released to the market. So. And many of which aren't even finished or functioning. So, but we'll take you through a set of those tools during this webinar, as Mark just explained, and we'll be covering sort of in the order the rise and impact of AI, the role of AI in the innovation process. Again, as I said, some practical use of AI tools in the process, and also some considerations when using AI. Since it's such a new field, obviously things are bound to go wrong, and there's some things you just have to take in consideration. If you have any questions or suggestions, you guys have found the chat already, so that's wonderful. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat, and we'll either address them directly as we see fit. or we leave them to the Q&A at the end. And specifically today, I think we're looking for a lot of interaction, as this such a current topic, and we're looking at for a lot of interaction on this fluid item. And we also have prepared some polls. So expect some polls to appear on your screen. Rob will launch them, and we're obviously keen to see your feedback on those as well. So I guess without further ado, let's go. So as we said, so first of all, the rise of AI, and to be honest, when looking back, I think we're all a bit surprised by the sudden surge in the wave of AI in this world, and the stuff that we're faced with. But in a very short time, AI, which is something far away, becomes something very real and tangible for us, and you see the rapid advancement of tools such as ChatGPT, obviously, but Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and quite a few which we'll discuss today, has a profound impact on organizations and the way we work, and basically our entire society. I mean, my son came home yesterday with a can of Coke, which is AI designed and engineered, so a first for me. So the potential impact of AI on the productivity of organizations is estimated to be 5 to 10-fold that of the introduction of the internet. So that's quite significant. And that obviously also includes the innovation process, which is the focal point for our webinar. And with the unprecedented capabilities of AI tools, organizations now really have the potential to unleash creativity, to make the informed decisions or better decisions, boost productivity, and accelerate growth, which obviously creates an interesting debate about innovation, but also has some challenges in it. So if we look at the definition of artificial intelligence, obviously it's been around for a long time. I know people who've been studying artificial intelligence back in the 90s, but if we ask ChatGPT for a definition for artificial intelligence, you get something like this: the capability of computer systems to perform human-like tasks such as recognizing speech, understanding natural language, identifying images, and making decisions, and even learning from experiences. And in the sequence sort of that sum up, you can see sort of the increased impact on our day-to-day world that will lead to challenges that will, but also provide a lot of opportunities that we'll discuss. So
Yeah, and then it's almost like a moot point, because you can ask, well, why should we actually be looking at AI? And well, the fact that we're all here today, I don't think that's a question that bothers us a lot.
I think it's an answer in itself.
But it's really interesting to see that the rapid rise already has shown some very clear advantages that can be achieved with AI when applied correctly. And I think it's interesting to also look at the examples Liz is going to show us later on in the webinar. It can really help you to create better, deeper, broader insights. Also, our work can be more efficient, more productive, more customer-centric. We're going to look at how AI can help you to build personas, can actually increase creativity. I think Liz has some examples of that as well. Yep. Make data-driven decisions, and also the iterative testing. So I think that's really the reasons why we should actually embrace this new technology, also in the innovation process. Just a short step back, how do we get there? I think it all started with the machine learning, kind of the first decade of the 2000s, where we've seen the rapid advancement of machine learning techniques. 10 years later, it really advanced in what we call deep learning, the application of artificial neural networks. And well, today it's actually taking a step further, because it does all that. That's the generative AI. And if you look at, the past 2 years, we've seen the enormous growth of capabilities, deep learning models towards language mastery, which is really mind-boggling if you really think about it. And these large language models are the basis for what is now called the generative AI, a simple prompt that can actually generate new content. But more importantly, also we already see engines that follow up with sort of their own prompts to create even better output. So that's really bringing it almost to like human intelligence, you could say.
Yeah, exactly. And and obviously, generative AI is all the rage currently. But if you look at what generative AI can do for us, it can just do so many things. So you can take a piece of text and create an image out of it, for example, by using DALL-E and Stable Diffusion, and even programs like Photoshop, and I've seen great advances there. Video generation, so you just write a script and a video is generated by applications as Synthesia or AI Studios. Obviously, text to text, using ChatGPT. I think we use it on a daily basis. I think you should too, to be honest. But also, an application like Jasper, which allows you to create creative content. And then there's audio generation, which is also quite interesting. Actually, yesterday I saw somebody was delivering a speech for 30 seconds, and immediately that speech was transferred into a different language with the lip syncing. So it's
and let's be honest, Matthijs, we actually considered, running this webinar by our own avatar, so using artificial intelligence. But at the end, we decided not to.
It's just us. So it's the real us.
We're real
in this case. Yeah. Okay. So as we said, today's focus is on applying, AI in business processes. And when we're preparing for this webinar, obviously we're having a debate on where to focus on. We could have, shown you a lot of AI examples in products and services, which inspire, obviously. And there's just so many examples of also in working with our own clients. And however, we decided to focus on AI, on optimizing business processes, and more specifically, in the innovation process, because obviously that is, what brings us together in these webinars. And just to give you a few examples of what we see happening here with our clients, I mean, our client KLM is using AI prediction tools to optimize scheduling in various areas of the business. They've been doing that for quite a while, and actually producing interesting results. But also the Dutch police force, whom we've had the pleasure of working with last year in supporting and professionalizing their innovation process, is using AI to solve criminal cases alongside their, let's say, analog, criminal or detective teams. But also our friends at Lauman Group, which is a prominent Dutch, car importer and mobility service providers, actually has used AI to generate a campaign for the introduction of the new Jimny, basically surpassing their own marketing agency. So it's happening, and it's happening all around us. And I'm sure you guys have a lot of examples. And if you do, please, share them in the chat. We'd be happy to learn what you are doing.
Yeah, and well, to basically open the floor to that, we have a short poll. Rob is now making it, I think, available. Yeah, there it comes. So where are you in terms of AI? So is it something you cannot use, maybe for reasons of confidentiality, privacy, security? Are you not using it, exploring the options, made a first start, or do you apply it on a regular basis? We didn't include, we're the masters of it, because I think nobody is the master at this point.
Just very few people. Yeah. But okay, exploring the options.
Yeah, and interesting, nobody answers we cannot use it.
Yeah.
So that's
we have actually, it's an interesting one, because obviously we have quite a few clients either in the public domain who actually think they cannot use artificial intelligence. Obviously there are ways around that, but it's good to see that there's just so many people exploring the options of AI. And
and maybe if the ones who are exploring the options made a first start, apply it regularly, maybe you can drop us a kind of a note in the chat on the kind of tools you're using and what you're using it for. So that will be interesting, I think, for everybody, because we're going to show you a couple of tools, but they are, it's an infinite, it's almost, the list is really long. So please use the chat to sort of show us the tool you're using and what you're using it for. And we may even get some tools that are new to us. I'm sure we will get them.
Please.
Okay, so not a lot of responses in the chat, but you can do so throughout the webinar. So
GPT is the champ.
GPT is the champ, actually. Okay. As Matthijs said, the focus of today is the role of AI in the innovation process. And just a short recap of the innovation process as we define it. Based on years of experience, we developed our own model for managing your innovation funnel and your portfolio. It's shown here on screen, 4 main stages: contextualize, ideation, validation, scale up, which gradually bring you from looking external trends to spotting ideas, selecting ideas, validating them, and then actually making a profitable business out of that. By the way, we're going to use these 4 stages later on on a running case where we're going to show you the actual applications.
Actual running case. Yeah.
And these stages are, of course, also covered in our previous webinars and in our innovation playbook. So again, do check them out. But these are the main stages in the innovation process. And we really think that when you look at the potential of AI, it will not only fundamentally change the products and services around us, but it will also change the way these products and services are innovated. Yeah. And we think that this impact will be so profound that you can easily, well, I think you could almost label it as a disruptive force. And that's quite interesting, isn't it? Because as innovation professionals, we talk a lot in these webinars about being disrupted. And are we now the ones that are being disrupted? Or are we, well, actually, we prefer the more positive take on things, and we believe that we will more likely be empowered by AI. Because undeniably, AI has a profound impact on kind of the breadth of knowledge that you can tap into, how we use data to make decisions, the tools that we use, the creativity that we can actually unleash. It basically fundamentally increases not only the efficiency, but also the effectiveness of the innovation process. And that's really interesting because that's, giving us new tools to actually be more effective at our clients and also be more efficient at it, because actually we're quite struggling for finding a resource, but that's a different topic. But of course, provided that you apply AI in the right way and also know how to balance it with the one asset that produced it in the first place, which is the human mind. And I think that's kind of the challenge that we're all facing at this point, isn't it, Matthijs?
Yeah, I think that's where we're heading to, because obviously when I'm talking about the innovation process, and to be honest, in our previous webinars, always approached the innovation process as sort of a human, as a human pilot at the helm. And while that still has obviously a lot of potential, it will probably not be enough, right, to stay at the helm and at the forefront of innovation in your industry. At the same time, we also don't advocate at this point that you move fully to autopilot with AI, as we feel that there's still a lot to learn and to develop. And the process is actually some innovation professionals actually see this as on the horizon of we're running innovation as a autopilot on an AI, which sort of seems scary to me, to be honest. I think we're not that far yet, and I think we'll also struggle, convincing our colleagues in leadership and our clients to do that, just for the mere fact, answering the fact, what are we getting ourselves into? So we, firmly believe that it's important to blend the powers of AI and the human mind together to create a more powerful innovation process. And in that sense, saying that you could use AI as a co-pilot for your innovation team, helping them make better informed decisions, as you just said, tap into more resources, overcoming constraints in terms of brain power and budget, executing some tasks more effectively and more efficiently than we would have done in a human-only fashion, if you will, but always with with your innovation team in the pilot seat. And I think obviously this is quite an interesting debate of where we are, and also want to gauge your your position in this. So again, another poll. Rob has just launched it. Just eager to learn from you guys. So how are you using AI in your innovation process? One, we don't have a formalized innovation process, which could still obviously be the case. We're still mainly a human pilot. We're looking to recruit a co-pilot, which could correlate with exploring the options in the previous question. We're already using AI as a co-pilot, or we're moving to autopilot. And interestingly enough, there is someone moving to autopilot. So I would be really curious to learn, how you're moving your innovation process for human only to autopilot. So that one person that provided the answer is, I think you're obliged to use the chat to explain us how you do that. But looking at these examples, I think we're still on human pilot, many of them, and using AI as a co-pilot as a good second. And also, if you don't have a formalized innovation process, obviously that doesn't exclude the use of AI in whatever innovation efforts you're into. But interesting stuff. So did we get the? Oh, maybe one of the participants is AI. Andre
That's,
says, "Yeah,
okay, Andre.
could
Yeah,
be.
that's
Okay,
a good one.
okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's clever.
Yeah, maybe if
Yeah.
the real AI
We
can
will
stand up.
we will never know, Andre. It's
Let's see.
let's see.
Okay, so as we've seen, a lot of people move into using AI as a co-pilot. Obviously, I think we'll end up with in a situation, at least for now, end up in a situation where you need different code pilots for different stages in your innovation journey, and there are just so many out there, and especially in the innovation journey, you have very different challenges, which calls for different types of tools and applications, as we do today as humans, obviously, but also I think that also holds true for AI tools. And the good news is there are just so many tools out there. And the bad news is there are so many tools out there. So how do you make?
But that's why we have Liz.
Exactly, that's why we have
Liz is checking out all those tools all
we
the
have
time.
our own curator, Liz, doing that.
Our own.
But so we have new tools emerging every week, and each with their own focus and sort of various stages of maturity. So, and then the question obviously is, where do you start? And we promise to give you some sort of practical examples and practical applications, as we like to keep these webinars a bit more pragmatic and practical. And so this next section of the webinar will devote to providing you with some of these practical uses, and we'll show you some of them we've explored, and we recommend you to explore them in terms to drive your efficiency, quality, and accessibility. But the disclaimer here is we have no stake in any of the tools that we're presenting you to you today, and we haven't done any diligence on the companies that provide those tools. So do your own homework if you decide to use these tools, and as we said, experiment at your own risk. So as we said, Mark already mentioned the running case, which actually is a running case, and I think I spotted Isaac of TP Vision in the crowd. So happy to have you here, Isaac, and thank you for allowing us to use this case, because obviously we worked with the innovation team of TP Vision on a new series of sport headphones for the Philips brand, and we've worked with them before on consumer-centric innovation for Ambilight TVs, for example. But this was just before the surge of AI tools, and specifically generative AI.
When we're still in human pilot.
While we're still in
exactly.
human pilot only. And just as a reference, TP Vision is an international player in the field of consumer electronics and focuses on development and production and marketing of Philips audio and video products worldwide. Obviously, a big player in that area. And in this case, we dove into the world of sports headphones, and we focused on everyday runners and athletes. So people like you and me, who would like to listen to music or podcasts while they're exercising. And the question really was, so how do we create a competitive advantage in a very crowded marketplace for headphones? And again, with the sports headphones as a running case, and the pun intended, we will show you some of the AI tools that can be used as a co-pilot in the innovation process to enhance creativity and productivity. And by the way, this case doesn't contain any sensitive information pertaining to the company or the category as it stands. But anyway, that's the case that we'll dive into. So without further ado, let's.
And as said, we're going to do that by using the 4 main stages of the innovation process as we define it, starting off then obviously with contextualizing. And that's really the stage where you want to understand the context in order to define your innovation strategy, to find out your innovation themes, and also define your innovation goals. And well, in the human pilot era, as we refer to it in this webinar, we created kind of a consumer insight playbook together with the TP Vision team. I was actually not involved with it, but Matthijs was doing that client, which covers key insights in consumer behavior and attitudes towards Philips Go headphones. Nowadays, with AI as co-pilot, the basic first research activities could actually be taken care of with support of AI, and that's really interesting. For example, you can look at spotting trends, developing scenarios, collecting market data, identifying key players. And well, we think that if you look at tooling out there, Q Markets or the innovation platform of Q Markets, and I think some of our Q Market friends are also in this webinar, has really proven to be of great value in this phase. Just a a few words on Q Markets. It's a strategic partner of RevelX. We're very happy to work with them. Offers an all-round innovation platform that makes use of state-of-the-art AI features and that helps you to build strategic trend knowledge databases as the starting point for your innovation process. And they really combine hundreds of databases and use algorithms to analyze them using the specific focus that you define. I hope Liz is now joining us. There she is.
There you go.
It's also,
Hey, Liz.
it's live. So let's now turn to Liz and see how that works in the Q Markets platform. Liz.
Yes, thanks for the introduction, Mark. I'm really glad to be here. First, let's start with the video to dive into the world of Q Markets. So Rob, can you start the video? Okay, thanks. Let me give you a tour in the Q Markets sandbox. Here at the homepage, you see an overview of 16 trends that may have a significant impact on your organization. In our case of the audio division of TP Vision, some trends are really interesting, like planet centricity, smart surroundings, virtualization. And for instance, let's have a closer look at virtualization. And based on my search query, an AI engine clusters all relevant mega trends per main topic. And in context of sport headphones, I'm keen to learn more about stimulated sentences. By clicking on it, I get a clear description of this microtrend, what you can see here. And next to that, on the right side of the screen, you see other related microtrends. And all in all, I think Q Markets provides really valuable insights to better understand your business context while learning from your user inputs. And above that, compared to the human pilot error, AI tools such as Q Markets help you to save time and produce richer results. So this in short about Q Markets. And let's turn back to Matthijs.
Okay, yeah. So thank you, Liz. I think that's very, very insightful, and that's just a small part of what the Q Markets obviously can do. But I think what Liz just showed us is that we can use AI tools to sort of analyze relevant market trends, help us to better understand where the opportunities lie, and identify new future disruptive trends that will impact the organizations that we work with. But also, build, innovation strategy based on the latest trends. And I spotted a question from Ernst in the chat, and he asks, as a consultant, when using AI to get market data for analysis, to what extent do you rely on the data, and how do you mitigate any risks that you see? I think that's a very relevant, question, and it's something that obviously, as we were arguing, that you still need the human mind to interpret what you see and interpret what you get. That is obviously one of the things that you still have to do. And obviously, and there are also tools out there which, apart from providing you with sort of the interpreted data, also provides you with the source data. I think it's your obligation our obligation as consultants, but anyone who's sort of advising companies to really dive into the sources that the AI tool is providing.
And you can really jumpstart that process.
Yes.
But as Dick also mentions, you also have to look at comparable analysis, human intelligence. There are research agencies, especially when you really want to look at sort of quantitative market data, like sizes, volumes, value of product market combinations. There, I would expect that some of the research agencies will obviously give you more profound insights. But combining that, and that's the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and actually, from personal experience, I find that there are some very specific research tools out there which are sort of very focused, and I think they set themselves apart from sort of being good in terms of getting to the right data sources. So that's just to answer your question, Ernst. So if we move into the second part of the innovation process, it's obviously the stage of ideation, which is personally my favorite stage, because it's about creativity, it's about brainstorming, about understanding customers, consumers, the problem space in which we develop our innovation ideas. And ideas can be rough. They can be small, they can be incremental, sometimes even moonshots. And when we go back to the case of the headphones, the sports headphones with TP Vision, obviously we put together in this room where we are today, a large team of experts, and in a few brainstorm sessions, we identified and captured tried to capture those new market opportunities based on tools like 10 types of innovation, for example. And although obviously been very happy with the outcome, if we had access to the clever AI tools we have today, the process probably would have been more efficient, and the outcomes even more creative. And actual research from Cornell University shows that AI-driven brainstorm or ideation brainstorms are generating ideas which are outperforming human ideas in terms of average quality. So AI, let's use AI tools to really help us with brainstorming, creative and lateral thinking, but also building a comprehensive set of divergent ideas. Obviously, we get into a trap of sort of fixing ourselves into a certain lane, but also you can use AI to design and train persona panels, obviously. And I think Liz has an example of how that can work in practice. So Liz, if you're there, come on stage and show us your stuff.
Okay, yeah, one of the tools which I would recommend in this phase is Storms. It's a free and easily accessible AI tool that combines human thinking, but also AI speech, and it helps to generate a lot of ideas. And I will explain that in the next video. So let me introduce you Storms. Here you see the Storms AI platform. And here at the homepage, you see different boards where you can work on different topics. And here I place already the following prompt: generate multiple innovative ideas for sport headphones used by everyday runners. And you see in a few seconds, the tool is generating a lot of ideas, and much faster than we can do as humans, but even so innovative and realistic. And given the power of these tools, I would really suggest and recommend to use these tools as a starting point for your ideation session, because they can be a great source of inspiration. And now we have this long list of ideas. We want to narrow this down to a short list of the most promising ones. And in this case, I would recommend to use Google Bard, what you can see here. And so I have asked Google Bard, summarize and make 5 clusters of all ideas below. Now it's loading, and within a few seconds, I got a short list of ideas into 5 clusters. So that's perfect and really helpful in this ideation phase. So let's go back to Mark.
Yeah, that's very insightful, Liz, and I think it's all looking at the speed at which that still blows my mind every time again, and it's really interesting to sort of use that potential, generate more ideas. Well, you can say hundreds, but at least more ideas in a couple of minutes than you could ever do so in a human pilot only situation or approach. At the same time, you can also use that as a starting point. I think that's where the co-pilot really comes in, because they accelerated the process, and then it's up to us to select the ideas that are really interesting, bring in to narrow down your results. And I think the other one, because that's always a bit of I'd say a pain in the ass in our work, when you've had those brainstorm sessions and they're really inspiring, and then you have all these post-its, and then you need to summarize them, and that's where sort of that's where the grind starts.
I just want to remind you, this is the family-friendly show. I don't know if the word has.
Okay, sorry for that, Matthijs, but that's where the grind starts, and part of the the grinding part of our work is now taken care of much easier, much faster. So that's on the ideation phase. But then, of course, we have ideas, and once we have identified those opportunities, and we need to move to the next one. We move on to the validation phase, and to really see which opportunities have value to the business in terms of desirability, viability, feasibility. Where, by the way, we have lots of material in our playbooks also specifically on validation. And actually, we have a fully dedicated webinar on validation. In practice, that really means stepping out of the building to test your most critical assumptions. And AI tools, again, can really accelerate this process by, for example, developing mockups, building your personas, identifying risk, defining your hypotheses, and also finding data to validate your hypotheses. And Liz has been testing, I think you already saw that one coming, tools on the sports headphone case. So let's go back again to Liz for some validation examples.
Yes, I will show you around. To visualize your ideas, I would recommend to use DALL-E or Adobe Firefly. And both tools can help you to quickly generate convincing visuals for your new product designs. And in advance, I've asked those tools create a mock-up of a new sport headphone. And again, in a few seconds, the tool generated those several visuals, as you can see here. It's beautiful, and it looks really realistic. But what I want to acknowledge is at this stage, creativity is still important. So you must be always keep human intuition involved. But let's go on to the next step. We have created our mockups, and we want to validate this on desirability. And for that, Synapse is a really highly recommended tool to create different personas. And I did. I've prompted in the tool, create 3 personas of an athlete who is using sport headphones during the running exercises. And within a few seconds, the AI tool generates very different and above all very realistic personas, including demographics, pains and gains, goals, brand preference, and so on. And I think this is a great basis to start from. As a next step, I've summarized this raw output into a catchy PowerPoint sheet, what you can see here, to make it more suitable for sharing with my team. And then as a next step, I want to get some feedback on my proposition idea. And another useful tool which I would recommend is Validator AI to get objective feedback on your business idea. And I will show you around in this tool via the next video. And here I've asked Validator AI, I want to launch a new proposition for sport headphones that help runners to keep entertained and safe while running in traffic. And what you can see here, the chatbot is giving an overview of considerations and feedback that in the end lead to more informed decisions. Now, I've showed you 3 perfect tools in the validation process, and hopefully it's really helpful for you. So let's turn back to Matthijs.
Yeah. So thank you. So I just wanted to pick up on a question which came in the chat, which was about does AI take into account applicable legislation and policies? Obviously, you have to instruct AI to do so. I think there is a lot of content which AI can reference, which includes that. But I think, as Eric also mentioned in the chat, is you can also include or train the AI system with your own set of data and this legislation and policy. So there's again, don't only rely on the AI output.
And Jona made a point about the inherent biases of like time and geographies. And I think if you watch closely to the personas list generated, they were a bit, let's say, US focused.
That's true. But you can, again, if you want, the quality of the output also depends, on the quality of the prompt. So if you, the more exact, so you can refine this prompt and saying that, okay, so now make these personas a bit more global, or and make sure that they also address, certain ethnic, associations, for example. It's just again, the questions you ask the system,
and that's part of our own learning process.
Exactly. Anyway, so again, AI assisted validation, as we've seen here with the examples of Liz, helps you to validate your innovation opportunities. Also, is very time saving briefing creatives. I think I just saw one remark in the comments saying, "Oh, that's a 2-hour workshop in 2 minutes." Well, yeah, if only it were that way, huh? So there's obviously a lot of work that goes into preparing these type of examples, but anyway, these tools also really drive customer-centric AI-assisted innovation in that sense. If we move on to the sort of the next stage, which is the sort of the scale-up phase, all the work done in ideating and validating propositions should now bear fruit, right? So we should introduce our products and propositions to the market. And it's all about building the innovations, about designing effective market entry strategies, and turning on the growth engines, if you will. And this obviously requires effective business planning and execution. And here AI can help you to support you in building business models. There are obviously tools which actually spit out full business model canvases for you if that's what you're looking for. You can generate content. You can build websites just through a sketch or just a few descriptions in text. You can create conversion-focused social media posts, for example, but you could test brand campaigns by predicting human behavior. So I think obviously, again, the opportunities are limitless here. I think Liz has one more demo for a tool which it's Agent GPT, which we think is quite useful in this case as well. So Liz, if you want to take it.
Yes, I will show you around in Agent GPT. It's a very useful tool that allows you to create a framework for a business plan. It's an open source platform that allows you to deploy autonomous AI agents. But first, let's have a look in a next video. Yes, it's working. I've asked the tool really detailed prompt. Create a future-proof business plan for a company that focuses on development, production, marketing of a wireless sports head for everyday runners and athletes. And based on this prompt, the tool is generating its own set of tasks, what you can see here. And this tool needs some more time to proceed all these actions, but after 5 minutes, it has created an entire business plan. And I think this tool is really helpful. You can use it as well in other stages of the innovation process. And at the end, the tool asks for a management summary. So you can ask for a management summary of the business plan, including financial projections, marketing planning, product roadmap, and so on. But still, I want to note those kinds of AI tools provide valuable assistance, but still we need human creativity and judgment. So that was it from my side, and let's go back to Matthijs again.
Thank you. I think you're absolutely right, Liz. Obviously, these are just great tools to help, and really drive, productivity, and also helps us, to apply, various or to competing models to the challenges that we're facing in this business context. So that's obviously very interesting stuff. And then let's move into some considerations when there you go. Actually, we'll just looked at AI assisted scaling up. Sorry. And again, what we've seen here is to conduct market research at a deeper level. And as it says here in the second bullet, it also provides us more time to really focus on strategic and creating decisions in the plan. And I cannot stress enough, I think the point that Ernst raised in the chat, it's we still have to be critical about what's the output and how does it apply to a specific business in a specific business context.
And also to Eric's point, in the end, AI is not intelligent, as we used to define it. So we really have to be intelligent in how we use it. I think a nice choice of words there, Eric.
Yeah, exactly, and that also plays into the role of innovation professionals and innovation consultants, and the application of those tools in a process is still something that we need to learn and still very valuable. So let's move on to the next section here, where we obviously, when we taken our first steps in the world of AI, we have to take some things into consideration, right? So I think it's very important to be transparent about the use of AI. Obviously, there are different opinions about to what extent AI is endangering sort of some professions, but also sort of steers the output of advice. So I think you should be transparent about it, and I think what we are doing is work with our clients on actually applying AI in our current strategy work, and I think that's very, very valuable. Also, evaluate AI models for their biases. We just talked about that, so you have to be aware of that. But also, and one good way to overcome that is to train the model and also use competing models. I think is mentioned by a couple of people in the chat before. Safeguard user data and privacy. Obviously, it's a big thing. We have to be very aware that whatever we're sort of providing as input into the AI tools that we're using, don't expect it to stay within the bounds of your own organizations or even your own app or machine.
Come to think about it, your competitor may be using the same tools.
Exactly.
And actually learning from your data.
Exactly. So, and if that's a concern at all, consider setting up your own sort of actually AI environment which you can train extensively. There are a lot of people who can help you do that. Obviously, also when using AI, obtain informed consent from users. So again, I think that also plays to the first point of being transparent about the use of AI. And I think that the fifth point is something that's raised before, is assign accountability for AI related decisions. I mean, innovation in that sense is it's as we like to call it, it's a business process, and every business process in an organization requires accountability. And whatever we as consultants advise our clients to do is based on our own accountability. Whatever you decide to do within your organization, you should also be or take accountability for. It's check, double check. Let's just put it that way. And it again, with any business process, the governance and accountability issues should be addressed. That leads to the sixth point of maintaining human oversight. I think it's very scary. I've seen some examples of other consultants using or actually painting pictures of how customer feedback can be fed into an AI tool, which then sort of automatically creates changes in business processes or even leads to innovations. I think we are not at the stage yet where we can do that safely. So maintain user oversight is absolutely something that needs to be upheld. Anticipate unintended consequences of AI actions, obviously. So the system or the computer can say the wrong things or things that we don't intend to or don't want to. So if something slips through, so how are you going to manage that? So that is something that you obviously have to look into. Upskilling your team with AI knowledge and skills. I just
to compensate the previous point.
Exactly, to compensate the previous. But also, I think it's a very interesting. We're living in very interesting times where, we as consultants working with our clients, it's not just about the content that we're concerned about, but also the way we get to certain analyses, and working together in developing our way around, or working with AI tools and building up AI knowledge, and it's here, and it's here to stay. So then continuous monitoring of any deviations. I think that's been dealt with, and obviously to collaborate with AI communities to share insights. Well, let's not constrain it to AI communities, but communities like this. So business innovators and people who are concerned with innovation and interested in AI. Again, we'd be very happy to hear from you guys what your experiences are and what your learnings are, and how we can apply those to the innovation profession. So if not today during the webinar, please feel free to reach out to us. And
the last rule, Matthijs.
Yeah, the last rule was don't become a dodo.
The most important rule: don't become the dodo.
Yeah. So if you have been if you've been in one of our previous webinars on disruption and innovation, we really like the dodo, but we really fear that some companies are the dodo or will become the dodo because they are just they just happily go about their business without being concerned about what's going on in the outside world, and allow themselves to become extinct. Maybe not by the 16th century merchant marine, but maybe from another competitor, or maybe a technology which is bound to be around the corner. So again, be aware of the dodo, and maybe use that as a catchphrase within your organization.
And embrace basically the potential of artificial intelligence. Just a very short commercial break here at the end, but stay with us. We have a couple of resources available on our website. You can also order our book on corporate innovation and basically the innovation mindset that you need for that there. We have a very interesting innovation readiness benchmark. You can download the innovation playbook. I think, Rob, you will even make that available right now. We have more tools, inspiration, and you can always reach out to us if you want to have a one-on-one chat on your innovation challenges. So feel free to do so.
And we always say it's a 30-minute consultation with us, but maybe you want to consult with us about your insights on innovation.
Exactly.
So we're
and also we can proudly announce our next webinar already together with our friends at Q Markets, which will be all around trend management and how that can be dealt with. That's really about the contextualize phase we were talking about earlier.
And I think that also dives into a question which was asked before. So how do we get what's the source data that, for example, Q Markets uses to come up with with the trends relevant and specific to businesses? So
exactly.
It sounds a bit far away. It's 2nd of November, but I think time goes quickly.
6 weeks, Matthijs. So you better start preparing. You better start preparing your AI tools to get the script.
Yeah.
Having said that, we're kind of at the end of this webinar. A couple of minutes left. We've seen already several questions in the chat. Answered some of them already. Does anybody have a question you feel that should be addressed at this point? We also see some
comments which would
nice words coming in. Thanks for that.
Yeah. So Rob, did you highlighted some maybe? Okay, so Robert asks, how sustainable is AI from a social and environmental perspective? I think that's a difficult question. I think it all determines on what you decide to do with it. I'm not sure if that's the intention of the question.
Yeah, yesterday I was listening on the BNR radio to an interview with the CEO or the managing director of Media Monks. Very interesting. And Matthijs gave some examples on the type of output you can generate, like video, text to text. Well, obviously, if you're in a media marketing campaign kind of area, that really is a massive force. And she was actually advocating that, of course, that takes away tasks from humans. But if we do it cleverly, it's all about sort of transforming, developing your workforce. And if that's what you meant with the social perspective, and yes, some people will find it difficult, to keep up with that. But I think that's by and large, maybe if you look back at the Industrial Revolution, what was it, 120 years ago?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
I think we're in a kind of similar. We're really in a similar kind of transition right now from a societal point of view.
Yeah.
So it will be challenging times, and I think it's fair to say that we also need to keep an eye on the human aspects of that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but as a short first reflection.
Yeah. And Icicle, Icicle said, thank you for using our case as an example. Well, you're welcome.
Thank Icicle for
thank you for letting
allowing us to use it as a case.
Exactly. And I think there's a question about, I missed the context and ideation section of the presentation. Yeah, the webinar. So you can rewatch this webinar. You will get it will be on our website, and you will get a link to that as well. And I think there's one question about B2B customer. So persona generating, addressing B2B customers. Sure. If you steer your prompt to developing B2B personas, I think you can. And we've done some tests with getting business deciders, DMUs or DMU personas, and they're quite interesting as well. So
But
yeah,
again,
absolutely.
it's all about using the right prompts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey guys, I think having said that, I think it's time to wrap it up. If you have a follow-up meeting, you can have you have 2 minutes to get your cup of coffee. So I suggest we all do that. Really would like to thank you. Thank you, Liz, for joining us today and preparing all these tools. It's been a great inspiration. Thank you, everybody, for your kind words in the chat, the interaction. Really looking forward to having you again 5 weeks from now.
2nd of November,
2nd of
trend
November.
management.
Okay. The show again.
Happy innovating.
Take care, guys.
Okay.